Let's start with the obvious things first. Walt Disney was not cryogenically frozen. He wasn't a kiddie fiddler, and while he did hang about with some anti-Semitic folks at one point in his life, he later distanced himself from them. But what about the rumors that Mickey Mouse was plagiarized? That Disneyland is full of corpses and kitty cats? And that Walt Disney secretly worked for the FBI? Yeah, they're all true. So let's find out why in our list of the 10 secrets of Disney. At number 10, Mickey's mirror image. Did you know that Walt Disney stole the idea of Mickey Mouse from himself? To explain this, we have to go back to Mr. Disney's early years, when he licensed some of his first cartoons to producer Charles B. Mintz. One of the characters he sold was called Oswald the Lucky Rabbit. Now, who does that remind you of? Oswald became a pretty popular character. So, Disney decided to renegotiate a bigger cut of the fee for the Lucky Rabbit's rights. Mintz refused, and even asked Disney to take a pay cut instead. This was on top of the fact that Mintz had also stolen most of Disney's animation team by offering them more money. On the train ride home, a determined Disney created a series of new characters to replace Oswald. He sketched dogs, cats, a cow called Clarabelle, and a horse called Horace Horsecollar. And while some of these characters would go on to appear in other shows, one character stood out amongst them all. A suspiciously familiar-looking mouse called Mortimer, later changed to Mickey. Because seriously, Mr. Disney, you suck at naming things. Number 9. Disney was an FBI informant. According to documents obtained under the Freedom of Information Act, Walt Disney acted as an informant to the Federal Bureau of Investigation for 26 years, and was even made a special agent in charge in 1954. Disney's mission was to report on the activities of Hollywood writers, actors, producers, and crew members who were suspected of political subversions, i.e., anyone he thought was a dirty, dirty commie. But that's not all, because it's also known that Disney gave Bureau Director J. Edgar Hoover unparalleled access to his movie and TV scripts so he could suggest amendments. Disney was of a right-wing persuasion and held a lot of respect for American family values. And between the two of them, Hoover and Disney would carefully craft the studio's output so that it reflected this. Intriguingly, J. Edgar Hoover was also a suspected transvestite. And while this isn't anything to be ashamed of, it does kinda explain all those cross-dressing Disney characters. At 8, The Wonderful Wizard of Braz. During the first 6 months of Disneyland, there existed a bizarre exhibit known as the Hollywood Maxwell Intimate Apparel Shop. Here, ladies could purchase brassieres. But the main event was a transvestite robot called the Wonderful Wizard of Braz, who would take you on a journey through time, showing off ladies' clothing styles from the 19th century to the 1950s. The robot was dressed in stockings, a corset, and a large ruff, and spoke to passersby and customers via a pre-recorded tape. And am I the only one who wants to see this guy back at the park? Or at least turn up in Toy Story 4? 7. Disney hated beards. Walt Disney may have sported a cheeky little mustache, but he absolutely hated beards. Except on dwarves, underwater sea kings, and pirates, of course. This hatred made up part of the Disney employee dress code, and as well as prohibiting visible tattoos and body piercings, male workers at Disney theme parks were not allowed to wear any sort of facial hair until the year 2000, when mustaches were made exempt. Yeah, because you really want little kids being supervised by a bunch of creepy pedo mustache guys. Beards were eventually taken off the banned list in 2012, but they must not be too long, and nor can they be shaped or styled. So this guy ain't getting a job anytime soon. In at number 6, Kimba, the white lion. In the interests of not getting sued, I'm just going to post a few pictures up now and let you folks decide for yourselves on any coincidences you may or may not be able to see. Here's a still from Kimba the White Lion, written in 1950 and broadcast as a series from 1954 to 1965. And here is a still from The Lion King, released in 1994. Here's another image from Kimba. And one from The Lion King. And here are a bunch more. Now, the film's creators say they'd never seen the tale of Kimba. But do you believe them? Or are they just lying? Because if those images aren't alike, then I must have a really bad eyesight. At 5, Club 33. Club 33 is a secret members-only organization inside Disneyland which Walt Disney planned but never lived to see completed. Hidden inside New Orleans Square, you can escape the crowds and get drunk on fancy cocktails away from the regular schmucks, if you can afford it. Membership costs a whopping $12 grand plus a $25,000 initiation fee. Or you could just break in dressed as Donald Duck. Seems easier. Some have linked this club to the Illuminati. And while we're not usually the kind of people to refute a tasty little conspiracy theory, the truth is, it's mostly made up of celebrities, like Elton John and Tom Hanks. And I don't believe for a moment that the New World Order is being orchestrated by Rocket Man and Forrest Gump. Number 4. Hey Bonesy. When Disneyland's Pirates of the Caribbean ride first opened in 1967, some people complained that the skeleton props used to decorate the attractions weren't realistic. So, rather than the obvious solution of kicking the designers' butts to doing a better job, the park procured real human bones from the UCLA Medical School. These bag of bones were positioned playing chess, sat on a pile of gold coins, and one was even posed standing up dressed as a captain with a sword through its ribs. Just imagine going to Disneyland and your mom points out that your real father has stood in the corner groping Keira Knightley. Hey, Pop! Nice work. Shockingly, it's much cheaper to use actual skeletons rather than realistic-looking fake ones. And while Disney claims they've since removed the real human bones, nobody can be sure if they're telling the truth. One thing is for certain, there are still a lot of dead folks at Disneyland. Number 3. Disney parks are secret cemeteries. Because Disney theme parks are such magical places, they often hold fond memories for many families. And so, when a Disney-loving person passes away, their grieving relatives sometimes try to contact the park about having the remains buried there. Fortunately for all the rest of us, Disney doesn't allow park burials, and nor are you permitted to scatter someone's ashes there either. But that doesn't stop some people throwing an urn full of little Timmy all over the place when no one's looking. Hundreds of random corpse scattering incidents are reported in Disney parks every year, with the ashes of several adults and Make-A-Wish kids blowing about the place at any one time. And on a few notable occasions, shortly after the New York anthrax scares of 2001, many rides had to be quarantined after hazmat teams could confirm whether the random white powder all over the place was a devastatingly deadly toxin or just someone's dried up dead daddy. At 2, feral cats. Due to the amount of food trash generated by Disneyland's customers, a significant animal population has developed in the park over a number of years. There are a fair few rodents hanging around, but not as many as there should be, due to the 100 or so feral cats that do a pretty good job of nom-nomming them. Disney workers were quietly instructed to feed and neuter this motley crew of stray kitties, as for some reason the company didn't want the public to know there was a legion of sterile, angry felines roaming their park. But the lid was lifted in 2010 when the LA Times exposed this secret cat colony, And in the process also exposing a bunch of angry geese that live there too, with a secret LA Times Disneyland report describing them as dangerous horde. And at number 1, the underground city. Beneath the rides and restaurants of Disney World, Florida, exists a secret underground city which most people have never seen. But this place is far from magical, because it's actually just a huge labyrinth of tunnels used for waste removal and employee movement. That's why you never see King Trident hauling trash around the place, and why you'll never spot Olaf taking a leak in the men's room. Although I'm not sure how you'd even manage that. How do you even unzip snow?
You think he pees out of a carrot?
This subterranean network houses everything the park needs to function correctly, including costume departments, hair and makeup staff, and a mysterious realm known as the Dumpster District. You can take a tour of this place for $79 if you want, but I doubt many people visit Disney World to experience the thrill of administrative procedure. And a Strange Mysteries bonus entry. Elsa is a bitch. On a recent Reddit thread where a former Disney employee conducted an Ask Me Anything, a man who played Goofy at Walt Disney World for the past 20 years admitted that some of the people there take their role a little too seriously. Posting under the pseudonym I Have Another Identity, he told Redditors how performers whose faces are visible seem to think they're on Broadway, and that they demand respect because of this. But the most damning indictment was of those who play new characters such as Elsa and Anna, as he described them as acting like the cool kids in a high school cafeteria. Apparently, they like to separate themselves from the old characters like Snow White and Mary Poppins, while glaring at them mockingly from across the table. I wonder who plays the dreamboat captain of the football team. It's probably Hans. Girls love a bad boy. I know I sure do. And that's our list. Did you know I only included that bonus entry because apparently I cannot count to 10? Hooray me. Next up, we've got a video of unsettling messages found in Disney movies, which you might like as well. There's definitely 7 in this one. I checked it to make sure.